Welcome to Against the Tide, the podcast where extraordinary social change makers share their stories and their wisdom. Against the Tide is a celebration of courageous women who create lasting impact by daring to forge their own path. We'll dive deep into powerful themes such as the complexity of identity and how it influences the choices we make, embracing change even when it feels uncomfortable, and how breaking free from labels can unlock your true potential. Join me, Jo Metcalf, to hear stories of incredible women who, by swimming against the tide, prove that extraordinary things can happen. This episode features Amy Langfield, co-founder of Grow with Iris. Welcome to what I know will be an inspiring conversation with art teacher turned entrepreneur Amy Langfield. Amy, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm delighted you could take time out and share your story that began with something no parent would want to face. Today you're a mum on a mission and an entrepreneur, changing the way families think about feeding their children. I can't wait to dive into your story of courage, innovation and swimming against the tide. Let's dive in. To begin with, can you tell our listeners how you came to be an entrepreneur and what Grow with Iris is all about?
Yeah, so I'm an accidental entrepreneur, and Grow with Iris is a plant-based growing up drink for kids who live with allergies. So when Iris was a baby, she was diagnosed with numerous life-threatening allergies. We could not find anything that was safe for her when it came to feeding. I was breastfeeding her and returning to work and just could not find a formula that was going to fill those gaps. I knew that I couldn't be the only one, and after searching high and low, the internet all around the world, importing really expensive potential alternatives, it's like, why does this not exist? And that's kind of when it started, and that's when this journey began. So a long time ago.
Thank you for sharing that. That must have been extremely challenging times, and you've turned what was challenging into an amazing story. You've described your work as a political and emotional act of mothering in a system which often fails families like yours. Can you explain more about that?
Absolutely. So the formula industry is completely dominated by dairy, and three companies who, they take the whole marketplace. There's no room, there's no space for choice. So with Grow with Iris, we're kind of like the David against the Goliaths, and we want to support families and empower them actually to kind of make their own choices and choose what they want to feed their children. We're not going to be for everyone because, different people have different allergies. However, just by taking dairy, soya out of the equation and having no may contains is it, like I said, empowering for parents. I can actually find something that I can choose for my child. And with Iris, my frustration at this and just feeling so helpless, thinking it's just not fair. Like, why is this happening? It's such a difficult industry to crack open, and we've done it step by step. But we're a tiny company, but we're kind of building momentum, and know that ultimately we're going to change lots of people's lives.
Fantastic. That must be a difficult journey. Did you ever have doubts about your path? How did those doubts show up for you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's constant in my brain constantly, what are you doing? Why you should just give up, because this is way too complex. You haven't just got big companies who have lots of marketing to go against, but you've also got the regulations. Changing regulations is expensive. It's a legal process. Like I said, we're a small startup company run by two mums on a mission to change the world, one sippy cup at a time. But it's just, it sometimes feels like this giant mountain, and we feel like we get to the top and then there's another bit and then there's another bit. But the motivation and the reason that we feel so passionate about it is, number one, our children. So I see Iris and I see her thriving, even though she lives with allergies. And then little Lenny, who is Sophie's little boy, who also has a dairy allergy, but also all the messages we get from parents who are just saying, thank you so much. I can return to work. I can actually have a day off. I'm not having to forcibly breastfeed. I have to keep breastfeeding because there's no choice. It's actually just empowering people, because life is busy and it's not linear. So we kind of try and fit in there and lighten the load a little bit for families. Yeah.
Fantastic. We've touched on this already, and you've described the market you operate as a David versus Goliath situation. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and the industry that you work within?
Yeah, so regulation is one of our big challenges and barriers. So the only proteins for use in infant formula are cow's milk protein, soya protein, and goat's milk protein. And those are for healthy children. Now, there are options for special medical purposes, but again, so expensive. To try and actually get a formula on prescription is so challenging to be believed. So many allergy parents I speak to are back and forth to the GP. I had the same experience and just not believed. Oh, just being fussy. Oh, it's just a bit of eczema. It's colic. It's this, it's that. So you're kind of fighting. And if you're buying that yourself, it's like £45 a tin, and it's like a really small little tin. But it upsets me and also motivates me and Sophie to keep moving, because these companies have the money and they have the resources to be able to do what we're doing, but they don't, because it's about money. So Sophie and I are definitely not doing it for the money, that's for sure. We're putting our whole lives on the line, and financially, our families, but we feel like it's a really worthy cause. And sometimes it just baffles me that it's not easier for us to do.
What challenges have you faced as a startup in such a competitive environment?
I mean, it always comes down to money. Again, I feel like sometimes we have the best kept secret because we don't have the funding to be able to shout far and wide, and have that marketing budget to make people know about us, to get into the supermarkets, to be able to get to the stock levels that they require. And our pilot batches and our commercial batches are so expensive, and mostly because of the allergy testing. So we're one of the only brands who do a full set of allergy testing on everything. So we don't have any may contains at all. So we're giving peace of mind to parents, so they know what they're getting is what it says on the pack, and they're not having to question anything or make a kind of risk assessment. With Iris, everywhere we go, people are like, wow, it says may contain. You're like, well, the whole world is may contain, and you're constantly having to do this risk assessment. When you've got this tiny vulnerable baby or toddler, and that they could potentially go into anaphylaxis, for us to be able to give them a product where they know it's going to be safe, then that's a big deal for us. And it frustrates me that companies with more leverage could be doing more. I would be happy if another company created an infant formula that was more inclusive. I would be happy, because ultimately that's my goal. But it's not happening.
And why do you think that is?
Money. And, everybody is conditioned to have a certain formula or a certain growing up drink, and there's not really any choice. People think that's just what it is, and it's not. It doesn't have to be. And, thinking forward, we need to think about future foods. We need to think about how the world is changing and how we need to think about how we're feeding our children. And one day we might not have a choice to be able to keep using dairy. So we need to kind of think about the options rather than just staying in the same line and the same lane all the time. Yeah.
So how do people within the industry respond to you?
So we've not really had any contact with the big formula companies. We know that they're watching us because we see their ads popping up on Amazon next to ours. But within the allergy community and the allergy industry, there's lots of brands doing some kind of game-changing stuff like Creative Nature. And we've got some other kind of direct competitors, I suppose. There's another startup called Patina who do fortified plant milk. But they've become our friends. We're not against each other. We are here to make the change and, again, to make things inclusive. And we all have this common goal. So it's a mix. You know, we're not kind of connected to the industry directly, but when it comes to free from, that's another level. I mean, we've been quite involved with the Free From Food Awards. And again, that is just a network of amazing people doing game-changing stuff. And we're all there. We all have each other's backs and we all buy each other's products. If we see it in a supermarket, we'll tell someone, have you seen this? Really good. You know, because it is. And we need to spread the word because we don't have the big budgets like a lot of the companies do. So it's all word of mouth and community. Community is everything.
You've mentioned finance, investment already. What's your experience been like securing investment?
Investment is really hard. It's a full-time job. And when you're trying to run a business and keep moving, it's challenging. We've had a mixture. We've got some amazing investors who are so into what we're doing, will check in and are patient, and they know that we're in it for the long game, that it's not like an overnight, we're not going to kind of boom overnight. It's like a long, slow burning. We have also been offered some investment, but they wanted to take the whole business near enough. And I think as a female founder, when you're starting out and you really need that money, because it's an expensive world, and especially to launch a new food and beverage business, you know, that's so competitive. People do take advantage and they want a lot for a small investment, and we have had to be really strict about who we're giving the company to. We've needed people, but we need people who are on our side and understand us as founders and are on it for the journey rather than, you know, like an overnight success. Yeah.
And how did you make the decisions around that?
A lot of the time, going through the figures, but gut instinct. Sophie and I have both come out of an investment meeting and said, that's amazing. But then our gut feeling's like, but it doesn't quite feel right. And we're at an earlier stage. And yeah, I think Sophie and I are very aligned in terms of values, and I think that helps. And if one of us has a hunch, most of the time the other one has it as well. So we're really different, but that's the way that we connect. And you do have to trust your instincts. It's like a marriage, you know, once an investor is on board, they're there. You can't just say, see you, bye. And I would definitely advise anyone who is looking for investment to not jump in, really think about it, ask them questions as well as them asking you questions, because ultimately it's your baby and you need to protect it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Sounds like you've done an incredible job so far of protecting your baby. Not only Iris, the business as well. What has kept you going through your toughest moments?
Iris. Iris and Lenny and all the kids and all the families who get in touch with us, and we see that keeps us going. We could have had like the worst week ever, and then a little DM pops in and you're like, oh, that's why, and I'll screenshot it and I'll send it to Sophie or vice versa. And that's it. That's what keeps us going. And yeah.
That positive feedback.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I can't imagine this has been an easy journey. So would you do it all again?
Would I do it again? Absolutely. Mainly because of Iris and the people within our community who need us. And now little Lenny, who's got an allergy to dairy as well. So he's now having Grow with Iris every day. Sometimes, you know, there's always constant chatter in my brain going, what are you doing? Run away, run away. Because it's a lot of pressure on us as a family and on Sophie and my friendship, you know, because we're friends, but also founders. But we, like I said, we have lots of shared values and we really respect one another and our strengths and our weaknesses, and we're there to kind of lift each other up. And ultimately it's made our friendship stronger. So yeah,
Brilliant. And you talked in there about the voices in your head that say run away, run away. How do you manage those voices?
Oh, the way I manage the voices in my head are sometimes having a little step back from the chaos, because it is chaotic. It's a startup. We are doing everything. But taking time out with my dog, with my kids, but also trying to focus on why we're doing it and looking at the little kind of messages that we do get. We have a feedback Friday on our Instagram account, and you know, sometimes just flicking through that and you're like, oh, actually no, it's worth it. It's, you know, keep going. So it's purpose driven, and it's all about the humans that are involved, and knowing what I knew when I sat there with Iris, feeling completely helpless when she's a tiny baby, and feeling so alone and desperate to think that we could be in someone's living room on the sofa with their baby, you know, hypothetically helping them and holding their hand and being, actually, we've got a choice for you. You can feel empowered, and your baby deserves to thrive as well. You know, everyone's baby deserves to thrive.
You've talked a little bit about the things that you learned, but what are the key things that you've learned during this journey about yourself, the industry, and the people that you serve?
Yeah, so what I've learned about myself is that I'm really tough on myself all the time. I've actually realised that I'm more resilient than I think I am, and that the team around us is the thing that supports you, and always asking for help or finding the right person. We've had lots of challenges with recruitment and team, because we need to find people who have empathy for us as mums, and we have sadly had some issues along the way where it hasn't quite fit, and that's fine because you learn. And I think we are at a point where we're growing up with the business, as entrepreneurs, as business owners. And you know, from both Sophie and I creative. Sophie was a creative director. I was an art teacher. Sophie's probably got more business experience than me. I haven't. And, you know, I've always managed children. So adults are really different. So it's difficult. It's been really difficult. But finding the right people, finding mentors who get you. And I've always, if there's someone that's inspired me or another founder that's inspired me, I will always reach out to them. And honestly, more recently, we've had some amazing support. Just people kind, like being really kind and just giving their time to say, no, actually, you're doing a really good job. Why don't you try this? Yeah, without being patronising and just, understanding us. Sophie's got a 1-year-old. I've got a 6 and an 8-year-old. We have different parental challenges and parenting challenges. So if when we're absolutely exhausted and on our knees and had sleepless nights, or the kids have been sick, or juggling everything, having someone who shares our positivity for the product and for what we're doing and can be the bouncing pea that day, like lift us up, that's really important.
So what is the bouncing pea?
So pea is featured on our packaging. So pea doesn't have a name. Pea is an energy. Pea is the joyfulness, the playfulness of a child, and hopefully Grow with Iris brings out the best in children so they can go and enjoy life and do what they want to do and be who they want to be without being held back by nutritional deficiencies because of their allergies. We fill in those gaps and we want to embody the pea energy. So if Soph and I are having a bit of a kind of like rocky day, we're like, come on, let's embrace the pea energy, put our green pea pants on. Well, it sounds a bit weird. But just, it's the power of the pea to be the energy and the joy.
Fantastic. Is there anything that you've learnt about the people you're serving or the industry that you want to add into that as well?
Yeah, that there's a lot of people out there who are feeling very alone. And, we have a little philosophy, which is got allergies, no apologies. And we want to try and embed that into people and be like, look, don't apologise when you go out. Don't apologise to family. Don't apologise to the GP to say, I'm really sorry, but my baby's got horrific eczema and I don't know what to do, or they've got blood in their stools. Try and own that. And that's difficult. I mean, I feel every day is a battle with Iris. If we're out and about, I want her to live her life in the fullest sense without feeling fear for her allergies. But we need people around us to be allergy allies, and that's part of my motivation as well, is to kind of build that awareness and just make it safer for everyone.
You've used a phrase already in there around got allergies, no apologies, and allergy allies. Can you tell us more about what that means to you and why that really matters?
It really does matter. Got allergies, no apologies helps you check yourself when you are about to apologise. I had an incident last week at a Lido when a woman was really cruel to Iris and I because we were taking time to read the list, the allergen list at the ice creams. And instead of stepping up, I didn't use it. I'm so cross with myself. I'm like, I should be living and breathing this, but it's so draining all the time. You're having to advocate all the time. So what I want to encourage people to do is to be that allergy ally, be that person on the plane when they've done the announcement and someone's opening their nuts and say, did you not hear that? Rather than the person with the allergy having to say it, because it's humiliating and it's tiring and sometimes you just don't have the energy. Be that person who invites the kid with allergies to the party. 54% of parents don't invite the allergy kid because they're too worried about them coming. Pick up the phone, drop a little text. What can we do to be supportive and to include your child? Or if you work in a coffee shop and someone asks specifically for oat milk, double check that you're doing that and don't make them feel bad. Is it an intolerance or is it an allergy? Just accept the fact that that's what they've asked, because you don't want to explain all the time. I have to have the oat milk because I'm carrying EpiPens, because if I have dairy, then I might go into anaphylaxis. It reminds you all the time. Just little things, little bits in your day, because it all tots up. It's like the analogy of a cup, drip, 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 all these things that you're having to do all the time, and then it overflows. because you can't see allergies and people think you're being fussy and that you're being a helicopter parent, and you're really not. You're really not.
I didn't appreciate until we chatted the impact that all has on you as an individual and as a family. So thank you so much for sharing that. It's definitely sort of brought some things home to me, and
thank you.
And it's great to share with the listeners as well. What final message do you want people to understand about allergies in food and formula?
If you're an allergy family, or you're at the beginning of your journey and you don't know what's going on, reach out to Free From Brands, because they're run by someone who has allergies or has that experience. But tap into the community. There's an amazing community like the allergy team, Allergy Badge, Natasha's Foundation, all these different places, Anaphylaxis UK, where, you know, if you don't want to go to a charity, contact the founders. They'll always make time for you because they know exactly how you feel. And for the industry and for regulation, I'd really like the government to think about maybe making it easier to create a plant-based formula, help to fund it, help with the clinical trials, because ultimately, you know, our allergies are on the rise, 5% increase every year. We need to, you know, it's not going anywhere. So we need to think about the provision. We need to think about the change and what we can do to support those people who are coming up. You know, babies are being born all the time. It's like 1 in 12 children have an allergy. That's crazy. That's 1 to 2 in every classroom.
Wow.
So the government needs to step up in terms of supporting us, not just for formula, but in general. And lots of things have changed. You know, we have Natasha's Law, but the amount of times I go into cafes and restaurants and they're not following it. Yeah, so that as well. But also the big companies, even if it's going to take a little bit of your margin away, do the testing. Cross the T's and dot the I's, like us, belt and braces. And it's, you know, there's a top 14 on purpose because people have to check that on the back of packs. Make it easier, make it safer, and reduce the risk of having cross-contamination. And, you know, stop just using may contain as a blanket. Like, actually, what is in your product? You should know what's in your product. And if you don't, then don't sell it. That's my final word.
And importantly, how is Iris now?
She's amazing. Okay. Yeah, she's 8 now. Yeah. She always remembers her EpiPens everywhere we go. We've just done a little personalised EpiPen case because she's into Sanrio at the moment. So she's got all her little characters on it. But she is thriving. You know, she does everything, singing and dancing all the time, but also she's empowered, and she will speak up if she doesn't feel like something's right. She'll challenge me as well. Have you checked this? Have you checked it properly? But not in an anxious way, in a kind of proactive way. And she doesn't I hate it when people say that you suffer from allergies. It's like one of my pet hates. I'm like, you live with allergies. It's like you live with lots of different things. It's just part of who she is, and it doesn't necessarily need to stop her. But we need everybody on the outside to support us, because we do all we can. But like I said to you before, that's exhausting. But if everyone did their little bit, it would be so much easier.
Is there anything that you've not said of little bits that people could do if they're listening and want to get involved, whether that's in the community or learn more about your organisation and what you're trying to do?
I would definitely go to the shows like the Allergy and Free From show, the Free From food festivals, because you can go and talk. Everyone's there. Our community is really small, and just connect with people. And it's funny, I've said this before, but someone I know called Ruth Holroyd, she's an author, and she has topical steroid withdrawals. So she's got lots and lots of allergies. And she said when she goes to these shows, she feels like she's not a weirdo. Like, this is her place and this is her space, and it motivates her and gives her that energy. But it's a place to ask questions to people who've been there, who've done it, and always reach out. Always reach out. But the shows are brilliant. We always come away feeling like our hearts are full, because we've had so many lovely conversations with families or people who, we once spoke to a lady who was like in her 70s, and she just cried because I just wish I had this when my son was little. She said there was nothing when he was little. So it makes us feel good to know that we're there for people.
It sounds like you're doing an incredible job, and keep swimming against that tide, because we definitely need women like you in this world trying to champion change. So thank you very much, and thank you for joining us today. Thanks for listening to Against the Tide, brought to you by Joe Metcalf and Louise Kavanagh. We're grateful to the team at Sticks and Glass in Leeds and Bison Studios in London, our inspiring guests and wonderful listeners. Subscribe to Against the Tide wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode.